Hey guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Gerald and today I've got some juicy news for you. Did you know Singapore is number one? Yeah, number one in what, you ask me? Well, we are number one when it comes to saving money. According to the World Bank data, right, Singapore or Singaporeans save like 46% of our GDP, and that's like we are world number one, just ahead of China, which is 45%. And being a Kiasu Singaporean, right? Hell no, I'm not going to lose to them, and that's why I made this video. 5 hacks on how I save money so that you, fellow Singaporeans or any other parts in the world, can learn how you can save more money. Don't worry, we're going to keep our number one spot. Alright, so jokes aside, the main point of this video is for me to kind of share some of my experiences of how I manage, or some of the hacks that I use to kind of save 75% of the income. But the point is not to kind of emphasize, hey, you should try to strive towards, saving like 75% of your income, because I don't want you to kind of put that kind of unnecessary stress on yourself, because ultimately saving is a proponent of how much income you make, because not everyone makes the same amount as I do. So the goal is to try to do the best in your own situation. If you make a lot more, naturally you probably can or should strive to save a little bit more and invest that money. If you earn a lot less, then of course you're gonna be able to save a lot less. So please take my numbers with a pinch of salt, okay? Well, so just to give you a little bit of context, I just graduated this year in the peak of a pandemic. I got a job and I also run like YouTube and a small business. Because of that, I earn a sizable amount of income, and also because I was very frugal, I'm able to save like 75% of my money. So this video was inspired by X and Young as well as Meet Kevin. Sorry, not Meet Kevin. Kevin Learns Investing. And they spoke about their tips or tricks on how they save money, and I'm like, no way I'm gonna lose out to them, man. I'm gonna make this video, share with you guys how you can save money. And this is according to my experience. Of course, if you have better like tips and tricks, do leave them down in the comment section below. So let's begin. Okay, so first up is the most expensive thing that probably every Singaporean has to pay, which is renting or buying or living under a roof. So of course, as best as possible, live with your parents. If not, I think what X and Young mentioned in their video is that you can share a room with a person. So if you share a room with a person, right, that basically halves the cost. So in town, you can probably get it for like 400 a room. But here's the thing. What I found to be like kind of like a high level tip for me was that when it comes to rooms, right, there is one thing that you need to look out for. First is whether does it include or does it exclude utilities. So what I found to be a better deal for me was to make sure like that price, $800, includes utilities. That's first. And the second thing I also noticed that helps me get a better deal is that generally when the landlords are living in the house, they almost always give a better deal. So if the landlord's not in, chances are you're paying about $100 to $200 premium just for the place. So that's like a 25% savings. And to take things one step further, so here's what I learned. So back then I wanted to kind of house hack, because I learned from Graham Stephan. Basically what I did was that I wanted to rent an entire HDB and sublet it out. But unfortunately, that's not legal in Singapore. But I actually did run the numbers. So what happened was that I was in Ang Mo Kio. I wanted to rent this condo. This condo was I think $2,000, and it has 3 bedrooms. So there's a master bedroom and 2 common rooms. And I actually listed the price without actually having to rent the place, to do some market research. And I listed the master bedroom for 1,004, common room for 1,001, excluding utilities. And guess what? Within one day, I had 20 people calling me interested, because they're interested to view and possibly rent the room. So if I were to successfully rent out the room, right, and I stayed in one of the rooms, I would have effectively paid $0 to live in that place. But that being said, it is not possible in Singapore because the government doesn't allow such subletting. But if you own your own house, you could potentially stay in the master bedroom and rent out the 2 common rooms. Or if you're even more frugal, live in a common room and rent out the master bedroom and common room. And that would drive your expenses down from like $800 a room to as low as like $400 or $500 a month. Not to mention the passive income you get from the tenants. So now on to hack number 2, which is to reduce the cost of eating in Singapore. So I think food is like my second biggest expenses. I spend about $300 a month, but that's because I spend quite a little bit going out with my friends to eat and enjoy and have a good time. And also because I recently tried to adopt a plant-based diet, and it's a lot more expensive to adopt a plant-based diet compared to like a regular diet. But the same theory kind of applies in both situations. So here's the strategy that I employed. Basically, right, I always eat in coffee shops because it's like the cheapest in Singapore. The second thing is that I always eat from the same cheapest coffee shop store, usually the Cai Fan store in the shop, or a mixed vegetable shop in that coffee shop. And what I do, or my technique for getting the best value of bang for my buck, is that I built a good relationship with the store person. So every time I would go and ask for extra rice, extra veg, extra blah blah blah, and usually I pay extra 50 cents, right? So, or $1 depending on the dish that you order. But once you build up the relationships, your portion just magically gets bigger and bigger over time. So once you do that for like, I think a good half a year, they'll recognize you. The moment they see you, they know, extra food. And what I do is that I have this thing called leftover. So when the portion is really big enough, so this is the container that I use. As you can see, it's 2 liters IKEA container. Sometimes I get like this amount for what? $4? Kind of? Good deal, right? So that's the power of building relationships and constantly ordering from the same store. The second pro tip I have about food is that I realized that it is not really necessary to have like, 3 meals a day. I think breakfast is coined as an effective marketing tool. So back then when I was an athlete, I realized I needed to eat like 6-7 meals in order to perform effectively. But now that I'm no longer actively competing, I start to wonder do I really need 3 meals a day? So right now I only eat 2 meals a day, and I realize these 2 meals that I eat cumulatively, the volume that I eat is a lot less compared to eating 3 meals a day. And secondly, it saves me money. So that sums up pro tip number 2, how to save money from food. And now for pro tip number 3 is to travel. I don't have much to add. Really, I take public transport and I use like Google Pay for everything, because Google Pay, you actually get cash back when you take public transport. But that's really it. I spend about $100 when it comes to public transport every single month. Oh, wait. There's one extra thing. Okay, so at night, let's say sometimes you get into a rut, like you stay out late with your friends, you chit chat and you didn't watch the time, and then you accidentally stay past midnight and there are no more buses home. What do you do? So for me, what I found was that Blue SG is a lot cheaper than taking taxis home, to the tune of about half the price once it passes midnight. So that's hack number 3. So when it comes to traveling, every month I spend about $30 to $50 every month because I work from home, right? And now for hack number 4. Hack number 4 for me is about phone plans and SIM cards. So for me, because I make YouTube videos, I have to upload videos, my internet consumption is quite high. And the problem is that if you were to buy like, 10 gigabyte, 20 gigabyte, it's pretty costly. So here's how I kind of hack it. Number 1, I don't buy my phone and SIM cards together because it's almost always more expensive. So I buy my phone separate on a budget, and I use like no SIM plans. So just a SIM only plan. So that's first. And secondly, I further hack this by finding the best deals and matching it together. So my phone has like dual SIM card, right? So the first card I use is the Circle Life $0 plan. It's free, it gives me 1 gigabyte. The second plan I use is TPG $10 plan. So why this 2 combination? First, TPG has like 50 gigabytes for $10 in Singapore. It's currently the best deal, but the problem is connectivity is bad. So if you're in Raffles Place City Hall, you get no reception, and that's when the $0 Circles Life plan comes in, because it's in the same phone. Just switch. There you have it, problem solved. So basically I get 50 gigabytes of data, caller ID, SMS, phone call minutes, all for just $10 a month. And that is hack number 4. Okay, so now on to my last final tip. So far, if you're enjoying this, please do me a favor, subscribe to my channel and let me know what kind of videos you want to hear before I go on to tip number 5. So hack number 5 for me, right, is to buy things on a budget. So I'm always looking out for good deals, and really, this is where the needs versus wants come in, right? It is, you only need basic things to survive, but sometimes we get tempted to buy extras. And for me, right, my biggest expenses is not on myself, it is gifts. Gifts are so expensive, but I think it's a kind gesture to kind of buy good gifts, thoughtful gifts for your friends and your loved ones. So that's why I'm always on the lookout for good deals, and I always cash back and coupon and rebate everything. So here's my strategy to really stretch my dollar to the fullest. Number one, I go for sales. So Harvey Norman has sales like I think end of the year for cameras. That's number one. Number two, I always use my credit card. So my credit card will give me like a 5% cashback. It's the Live Fresh credit card. So that's second. Number three, I use Google Pay because Google Pay can integrate your credit card. So you get Google Pay coupon, credit cards, plus warehouse sales. So there's 3 in 1, bam, all together. In the event that Google Pay is not available, what I would do is I would use like the Grab Pay or Fave Pay, you scan and then you get Grab points. That's like the second best scenario. So on average, every month I spend about $300 because those months that you buy a lot of gifts, I really stretch a lot more. And when it comes to what I wear, everything that I wear is literally free. So that's how I made it simple for my friends to, So on average, every month I spend about $300 buying things because mostly gifts. And personally, I spend really little. I use like the same few shirts all the time because I don't really need much to survive and be happy. All right, so that's my 5 main hacks to saving or reducing. Of course, I probably gave a lot more than 5 hacks, but I hope this video is helpful. Let me know which is your favorite tip. And as always, check out my other videos over here and here, and be sure to subscribe my channel, and I'll see you next time. Take care, everyone.